Have you ever wondered about the real cost of conflict in the Middle East, particularly in Gaza? The recent escalation of hostilities between Israel and Hamas paints a stark picture of this cost. On one hand, we have Israel, a highly developed nation with a formidable military power. On the other, we have Hamas, an organization widely recognized as a terrorist group, yet also the de facto governing authority of the Gaza Strip. This disparity in power inevitably leads to a disproportionate impact on innocent civilian lives, especially those in Gaza. But what drives this conflict? And why does it persist, despite numerous calls for peace? Let's unravel this complex issue together. To understand the current situation, we need to take a quick look back at the history of this conflict. Our journey takes us back to the mid-20th century, when the State of Israel was established in the historic land of Palestine. This event, while celebrated by some, was a cataclysm for the Palestinians who found themselves displaced, leading to decades of tension and conflict. Fast forward to the late 80s during the first Intifada, or uprising, when Hamas was born. Hamas, an acronym for Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya, or the Islamic Resistance Movement, emerged as a radical offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. Over the years, Hamas has gained significant influence in Gaza, becoming a de facto governing entity, while also being labeled a terrorist organization by many countries due to its use of suicide bombings and rocket attacks against Israel. Now let's bring our timeline to October of this year, when a fresh wave of violence was ignited. It began with an audacious attack by Hamas, which surprised many due to its scale and success in breaching Israeli surveillance and border security. This attack, which resulted in around 1,500 lives lost, triggered a swift and powerful response from Israel. However, this is where the narrative takes a dark turn. Israel's response, while framed as a defensive measure, has been marked by intensive firepower and a disturbingly high civilian death toll. Residential areas in Gaza have been subjected to bombings, leading to accusations that Israel's actions have crossed the line from defense into indiscriminate aggression. In the midst of all this chaos, it's worth noting the lack of a targeted hunt for Hamas operatives. Instead, the brunt of the violence has been borne by the civilian population of Gaza, leading to a death toll that vastly exceeds that of Israel. By now, around 16,000 people have been killed in Gaza, as compared to around 1,500 Israeli deaths. Now that we understand the roots of this conflict, let's delve into the recent escalation. On October 7th, the fragile peace was shattered when Hamas launched an attack, leading to the death of 1,500 people. This marked a dark day for the region, a day that ignited a series of events that would see the Middle East descend into chaos and turmoil once more. In the wake of the initial attack, Israel responded with an uncompromising show of force. Operation Swords of Iron was launched, a clear message from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that Israel would not stand idly by while under attack. But this response, has come with a heavy price. The Israeli airstrikes on Gaza have been relentless, a terrifying display of firepower that has left the region reeling. The toll on civilian life has been severe. Residential areas, once bustling with life, now bear the scars of war. Buildings reduced to rubble, homes destroyed, families torn apart. The very fabric of everyday life in Gaza has been irrevocably altered. While the hunt for Hamas operatives was the stated goal of this operation, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Reports of indiscriminate bombing and the use of heavy artillery on densely populated areas paint a grim picture of a conflict that has spiraled out of control. The cries of the innocent echo through the ruins, their pleas for peace lost in the thunderous roar of fighter jets overhead. The death toll is staggering. It's estimated that around 16,000 people have lost their lives in Gaza, dwarfing the 1,500 Israeli deaths. Each number, each statistic represents a life cut short, a story left unfinished. Mothers, fathers, children, all victims of a conflict they did not choose. As we take stock of the situation, it's clear that the conflict has entered a dangerous new phase. The cycle of retaliation and escalation shows no signs of slowing down. The people of Gaza, caught in the crossfire, continue to pay the highest price. The world watches on, the question on everyone's lips: when will it end? The conflict has entered a dangerous new phase, with no end in sight. This is the harsh reality for the people of Gaza, a reality that the world can no longer afford to ignore. The toll on human life is devastating, but the humanitarian crisis in Gaza extends beyond the immediate loss of life. The attacks have not only disrupted the lives of the people, but have also severely impacted the healthcare system. The already fragile infrastructure has been pushed to the brink, with hospitals and ambulances being targeted. The International Medical Humanitarian Organization, Doctors Without Borders, has reported direct hits on healthcare facilities. Their plea for respect of these sanctuaries of care rings hollow in the face of such violence. The aftermath of these attacks is not just the immediate loss of healthcare providers, but also the long-term effects on the community. An oxygen station, essential in treating respiratory conditions, was damaged, thus further crippling the healthcare system. The people of Gaza are caught in a vicious cycle, where the very facilities meant to provide relief have themselves become targets. The consequences of this are far-reaching. With healthcare facilities under threat, the sick, injured, and those in need of regular care are left in a precarious situation. As the conflict rages on, the people of Gaza continue to pay the highest price. The situation in Gaza is a humanitarian crisis that demands our attention. In our interconnected world, silence is not an option. We must stand against the atrocities being committed, against the loss of innocent lives. It's our shared responsibility to ignite a dialogue, to challenge the narrative, to question the status quo. Our journey doesn't end here. This video, this message, needs to be heard far and wide. We have the power to amplify the voices of those who can't be heard. We can help shine a light on the dire situation in Gaza, on the pain and suffering of its people. To ensure this happens, we must spread this message. We must share this video. Each share, each conversation sparked, brings us one step closer to a world where such atrocities are not overlooked, where justice prevails. Remember, the power of change is in our hands. We can't afford to stay silent, to remain inactive. We have the tools, the platforms to make a difference. Let's use them. Let's keep ourselves informed. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep questioning. It's through our collective action that we can help bring about change. It's through our shared commitment to justice that we can help ensure a better future for the people of Gaza. Share this video, raise your voice, and help bring the plight of Gaza to the world's attention.